Hello, online crew, and welcome to today's live where I'm going to share with you 5 steps to help you lead the conversation to close more sales. This is a big issue for a lot of you. It's a big issue in our industry. A lot of you know you need to network and have conversations with people, and most of you get stuck in either you don't have conversations because you don't know what to say, or you think you're going to say the wrong thing, so you don't say anything at all. I know you're out there. You know you need to be messaging, but it's just like, oh, I'm not quite sure what to say or how to bring up my business, so you don't bring it up at all. Or you get stuck in conversations where you're going nowhere. Like you don't know how to transition the conversation. You're just not sure of how to lead the conversation to have a discussion around your business and then close the sale. So what I want to share with you today, this is just to start the discussion, is 5 steps that I want to share with you, and you might want to write them down, of things to think about regarding leading the conversation. A lot of you need to get out of the weeds and the small talk and get to where you need to go. Not that you're going to open the door a lot quicker and say, oh, do you want to look at my business? There's a way around this if you're intentional. So if you got skills, if you learn the skills of how to lead the conversation, your life in this industry is going to be so much easier, and you will get results a lot quicker. You'll be able to talk to a lot more people. You'll be able to get to where you want to go a lot quicker, but you'll also be able to close a lot better. Does that sound useful to any of you? This is one area, and this is why, just for those of you, like my VIP mentorship program is open at the moment. And we've got a whole program and a roadmap that we follow for 6 months. If you want the information on that, I only open it every 6 months. It's open at the moment for starting on the 1st of April. But I'm beta testing. I'm going to be beta testing with those VIPs a whole new training, because I'm doing so much research, learning about what everybody's doing in the industry, what's really working, what people are struggling with. So I've come up with the 5 C's to crack the code in modern social selling. That's what it's called. 5 C's to crack the code to modern social selling. And guess what the number one C is? Where you all get stuck. Where 1, you're either not talking to people because you don't know what to say, so you don't say anything at all, or 2, you're stuck in the weeds because you're just like, how's the family? And you're like, how do I bring up my business? I really want to talk to this person about my business. They'd be awesome to be in my business, but I really don't know what to say. So either I'm not going to say anything at all, or I've said it and now they've ghosted me. Like they're not replying to me. So conversations. So if you're continuing on with my VIP program, joining my VIP program, whatever, we are going deep in this topic because this is what you guys all need. Okay. So let me get into that. Oh, before I do, coaching community members, I did the most, if I don't mind saying so myself, one of the best trainings I've done in teaching you guys practical tips in stories for your business opportunity. So last week for you guys, I did really creative ways to do stories regarding the products. This week, I've only just finished that training. This week, I did creative and innovative ways for Instagram stories and Facebook stories regarding your business opportunity. If you are a coaching community member, you need to go and watch that replay. If you're not a coaching community member, why aren't you hanging out with the cool kids and learning all the practical stuff to help you grow your business? Reach out to me if you want that information, because no kidding. I charge next to nothing and you get everything from me. I was only saying to somebody last night, I've got to learn to not give so much. Anyway, a fantastic training. And Clubhouse, we talked all about mentorship. And if you think you need it or you don't or whatever, go and listen to the replay of Clubhouse and then make up your mind. Okay, so who's here? How are we going? If you're watching live, say hello. We got Laurie. How are you, Laurie? Hello, Tracy. Tracy, you're on that training. How was that training this morning in the coaching community? Well, it's my morning. Sorry, guys. It's not always morning for some of your time zones. Totally gets you stuck with conversations. Okay. Tina, lovely to see you on. Laurie knows what I'm talking about, conversations. So let's have a chat about this in the 5 steps. Hey, Jay, great to see you here. So the thing you really want to get spit it out. I'm just going to say one word: intentional. Where a lot of people go wrong with conversations is there's no intention behind it. You're just thinking of a new person to talk to or connect with or something like that. So you're not very intentional. If you know, like if you go through a structure and you know kind of what questions you want to ask before you even start them, you're going to have so much better conversations. Okay. So when you're intentional about leading the conversation where you want to go, then it's just going to get so much easier for you. So one is ask intentional problem questions. Think about that for a minute. Ask intentional problem questions. So you might be discussing things, and let's face it, most people walking the planet are way too busy. Like they're juggling a million things, and they might have kids or grandkids or elderly parents or something going on. Most people, not all people, but a lot of people have got a lot going on. They might be working, and they've extracurricular activities with the kids and all the things. Like most people are really, really, really busy. Okay. So what that means is there's going to be stresses of some sort. There's going to be money stresses. There's probably going to be time pressures. There's going to be no one ever really has enough time for their kids or their grandkids or their elderly parents ever. No one turns around and says, yeah, I've got an abundance of time to spend with my elderly parents. I've got an abundance of time with the grandkids. I've got an abundance of time with the kids. Life is my oyster. I've got all the time in the like. It just doesn't happen. Everybody's stressed. Everyone's time poor. Most people, not all, but you know what I mean. So there's a lot of stresses out there. So when you're intentional with your questions, when you ask something like, how are you actually managing juggling the kids and, what you're doing with work on whatever? It's an intentional problem question. You want to ask questions that are going to lead to somebody that's going to probably raise an issue. So when you ask a question, whether you're typing, voice messaging, or speaking to somebody, most of you are probably, messaging by words or voice message. And by the way, always voice message, always. Who's avoiding voice messaging or who doesn't even know how to do it? You should always voice message because you can put tone and expression in your voice that no one will ever get from written words, ever. You can put compassion and happiness and excitement in a voice message behind your actual voice that no one will ever pick up on a written message. So always voice message. So you're voice messaging and you're saying, so how are you actually managing juggling all the kids and, keeping up with work and all the things? You are baiting somebody to talk about their problems, okay? And there's lots of these questions. So VIPs, this is what we're going to be working on, is we're going to have a library of these kind of questions. So you can already have those questions written out, memorized. The more you do it with the conversations, it'll just come naturally to you, but you want to ask intentional problem questions. You need to identify the need. Not everybody needs what you have. You don't need everything that everybody's profession has. You might not need gardening services. You might not need nursing services. Not everybody needs what somebody does. Same with us. So why do we get all stewed up when someone says, no, not everybody wants what you have? It's all cool. We're just trying to find the people that have got a problem where we've got a solution. So when you really dial down to problem solution, and that's where your conversation goes, identify the problem, we've got a solution, then you're going to have a much better job of, leading those conversations. So think of, okay, how can I lead this conversation? How can I have a library of questions that are already predetermined that I can ask of anybody in any situation? Okay, so number one, ask intentional problem questions. Number two, okay, I've got all this written down if you see me looking down. Relatability. Human relatability. So whatever they say, you relate to it, you empathize with it, and you share your story around it. Don't make it about you, but relate to them with something that you could say. And if it's not your story, maybe it's somebody that you know, okay? But you've got to have, number two, you've got to be able to relate to your prospect. So you've got to understand, you've got to have the empathy and share a story as like, yep, I completely understand what you're saying. Because for me, blah, blah, blah. So it's relatability is number two. The person must feel understood and heard and listened to you. It's amazing how many people don't realize how most of their conversations turn into self-interest. So yes, you want to share your story, but for the intention of relating to the problem that they're talking about. Okay. You want to really listen. You got two ears and one mouth for a reason. So you want to do less of this and more of this with what somebody, and there are keywords which you should know that people should, they'll share with you. Anything that's slightly an issue or a problem or a challenge or whatever, you're like, there we go. There's something I can build on. That's when I can ask a question like, oh, tell me more about that. I completely understand. And then you ask another question to get them to go deeper. Relate to them. That's number two. Number three, this is the difference with getting out of the weeds of then. So what you can do is become a complete counselor. So you've got really good at number one in asking intentional questions. But then when it comes to moving the conversation along, you're now in the weeds of all their issues and everything they're struggling with. And it's like, how did I turn into a counselor? And now we're just talking about all their problems and I don't know how to shift this conversation. You have to shift the conversation. And this is the missing link with being intentional for most of you. What you need to ask is a question like, so what do you think would help with that? Have you got any ideas as to how you can get out of that situation? What do you think might help you? You have to get them out of the weeds and talking about a solution, but get it from their mouth first. So then you can come back in number 4, this is step 4, and offer your solution. So you need to shift them from continuing to talk about everything that's wrong and just drop something in there that says something like, so, what do you think might help? How do you think that might be able to change? Is that what you want to continue to do, or do you want to get out of that? You've got to shift the conversation from the problem to where they want to go. Like get them out of the weeds. But that comes down to you asking the right question and getting them a bit visionary, moving them on, that kind of thing. And then you can say, well, I don't know if you know this, but I actually help people with. How many of you have got your elevator statement down pat? How many of you know, like if I asked you right now, what do you do? How many of you, like you've got one sentence ready to go going, I help whoever with whatever. I help the target market with the problems that you solve. How many of you have got that? Like if I said to you right now, what do you help people with? Do you have like an instant, roll off your tongue type words, because you need those. So in number 4, where you're offering your solution, you could say, look, I don't know, if you know this, but I actually help people with learn how to create an additional income stream through an online marketing platform, whatever you want to call it. I actually help people resolve those kind of energy issues, but with natural solutions rather than prescription drugs, because I don't like them. They solve one thing, but then they kill all the microbiome in your gut and all the rest of it. So I'm trying natural solutions. Would that, and then you go into the leading question. Those of you in my coaching community, the recruiting funnel, you know what a leading question is. Then you ask something like, would you consider something like that? Would you consider looking into? Would you be open to? Have you ever thought about a natural solution for that? Have you ever thought about maybe trying to create another income stream to help you with that? Would you ever consider? Have you ever thought about? So number 4, you're kind of offering the solution. Oh, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I actually help people. Bang. Would that be something that you would ever consider doing for yourself? Have you ever thought about something like that for yourself? Okay. So that's number 4. And then number 5, you ask for their permission, depending what they say. You ask for their permission for the next step. So if they say something like, oh, I don't know, I've never really thought about that. Then number 5, you ask their permission to share some information with them. It's like, well, I don't know if you're open to this, but I can share you with some information with the product that I use, or, the business that I'm in. If you just want to have a look at that. No dramas if not, but it might be something that can help you. Okay, so that's number 5. Ask for permission to share something. Don't go straight into, oh, well, you should look at what I've got because it's helped me do this, and now we're all talking about you. And I'll send you, our latest presentation, or I'll throw you in the Facebook group where we've got a presentation in there, or I'll do this or do that, and you're going straight in. People don't like that. You've got to wait for the yes. It's like, well, we've got a Facebook group with some information that you could have a look at. It might be something that helps you too, like it's helped me. Would you be open to me adding you to that Facebook group? Would you be open to looking at, a little video, a little bit about what I do? And then we can go from there if that's something that you can, if that's something that, you think that it might help you. So one, we're using the word open. If you've listened to me for any length of time, do not say the word interested. Would you be interested? Triggers a yes or a no. Would you be open? Nobody likes to think they're not open, even if they might not be. No one likes to think they're not open. So it triggers a different response. Would you be open to me adding you to a Facebook group? Would you be open to looking at some information if I shared it with you? But hold your posture. You don't jump on people. And you don't give them information when they haven't even asked for it. You ask their permission, and you got posture. It doesn't matter to you whether they get in the group or they see the presentation or not. You don't need anyone. As soon as you get too overzealous with, oh, I can send you this and I can put you in this group and you should see what I do because I do this and I do that and it's all wonderful and I work with the most amazing people and blah, 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 and you go off on all this tangent. Suddenly they feel pressured and it's like, oh, is that one of those things? Because you haven't asked their permission for the next step. And when somebody feels that you need them, like they feel that kind of pressure, they're out of there. When somebody doesn't feel, have you ever been in a situation where you've been offered something and you're like, oh, I don't know, but then it gets taken away from you? And like, oh, but, like, that feeling? Of like you didn't know whether you wanted something and then it gets taken away from you and it's like, oh, no. That's what people do. That's what humans do. So when you've got complete posture and you offer them the solution and say, would you be open to, it's like, it's all cool if you don't. I just think it might be something that could really help you. They don't feel pressured by you. So these 5 steps are really, really important. But building in this business, particularly online, takes skills. And you need to practice these things. You need to practice your wording. You need to play around. Hopefully you've got a mentor or something that, okay, I'm having this conversation. Where the hell do I go next? Because I stuffed that one up or I jumped in too quickly or I didn't really, I don't, whatever. But you've got to practice these 5 things. Okay. I'm convinced more than ever that this is one of the biggest weaknesses. And this is why people don't, they don't want to talk to family. They don't want to talk to friends because you just feel you're hassling them. It's because you don't know what to say. It's because you don't really know how to bring it up with posture. Same online. A lot of people know they should be communicating and building rapport with more people because you can't build a business without talking to anybody. I don't care if you've got automated systems and the whole kit and caboodle, like you're fully into digital marketing. No one can buy something off you or join your team if you don't actually have a conversation somewhere along the line. You need to send them a link to buy, like you need to have a conversation. And even if somebody says, I want to join your team, if you're lucky enough, or I want to buy your thing, I still would never just send my link and go, okay, here you go. I would back it up and have a conversation and say, okay, that's cool. That's amazing that you're open to that or interested in that or whatever. But what is it that you're truly looking for? Like, what do you feel that you need? Like, I just want to make sure that this is going to be a good fit for you. I'm going to care and have a conversation about what their problems are so I can make sure my solution is a good fit. They're just not going to join cold. I mean, that doesn't happen very often, obviously, for any of you. Wouldn't that be nice if people just signed up on your link and you grew your team that way? But hopefully you're getting my gist. It's all about rapport building, caring about it, but you got to move it on quicker, some of you. And you do that by being really intentional with those 5 steps, practicing those 5 steps. So you're still being caring, you're still being authentic, you're still doing it in an attraction marketing way, but you're doing it in a way that's moving people along a little bit quicker than maybe what you're doing now. Okay? Is this helpful? this conversation. I would love to know, for those of you that are in the industry, whether this conversation is helpful to you, whether these 5 steps are helpful to you. As I said, I'm piloting this new 5 C's to crack the code in modern social selling with the VIPs in the next 6 months. So look out, VIPs. Okay. But coaching community members, remember, I have just given you the most amazing training over the last 2 weeks with stories. Last week was about products. Earlier today was regarding the business opportunity and all different creative ideas to put in your stories. Okay. So make sure you catch those recordings, guys. It's worth so much more than what you guys are paying for that. Okay. Yes, Beth, good comment. WIIFT means what's in it for them. Have you guys heard that before? WIIFT. It should be a term that you know. Hey, Katie, good to see you on Instagram there. What's in it for them? Yes, Cherie. Deep listening. Absolutely. Asking intentional questions. Yes, Cherie. Shift them and then offer your solution. Good summarizing on Facebook over there, Cherie. Thank you for that. Ask their permission to share something. I don't know if you guys realize how powerful it is when you ask a question and get the person's permission for the next step. Don't assume anything, and don't send somebody a link or a video or a recording of a presentation or anything, even though it might be kind of assumed. Just say, okay, so is it cool if I send you that link shortly, and you can have a look at it? Is it okay if I send you, the presentation because you missed the live? Or would you mind if I added you to that Facebook group? I know there are other trainers out there that say, just do things and tell them later. I don't agree with that, because you haven't asked their permission. Every time you get a yes, you're priming them for the close. So if they say, yeah, no worries. Yep, that's cool. Add me to the group. Yeah, I'm happy for you to send that link through. You are very respectfully getting their permission with every step. And so it's kind of priming somebody for the close. So even though you don't think you need to ask permission, I would still ask somebody's permission. I just do it with everything that I do. I ask their permission for the next step. So it does prime the person to say yes at the end, because they've said yes, 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 yes all the way along. You just haven't shoved them in a group and sent them a recording and go, oh, hey, I just thought you might be interested in this extra training. It's really whatever. You go and ask, oh, hey, there was this awesome training that I watched earlier today that was a bit more detailed about the business or the comp plan. Would you be okay if I sent that through to you? Ask permission, get the yes. If you're going to get ghosted, you know where you stand with the prospect. If you just keep shoving resources at them, you're pushing them away. Okay. Katie, I'll get back to you about that one on Instagram. I can see your comment there. Okay, just a couple more comments and then we will finish up. I completely lost where I am. Those 5 things are gold. Thank you for your feedback there. A yes from Jay, very helpful, very helpful. Agree, Helen, ask questions. Awesome. So thank you for your feedback there, guys. I hope this was really helpful. I've got another great training for you tomorrow. So turn up at the same time tomorrow and we will continue the conversation. Okay. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. We'll see if the broadcast